Hello everybody, welcome to Philadelphia. Thank you for tuning in. It's a great morning, had a great workout today. I lifted, I walked a mile, swam. Whew, feel great. You know what? 6 years ago today, I made a video, and at that time, I don't think I could have ever imagined doing this kind of workout today. Yes, that infamous video, the video I made the day before I left Ecuador for good. Maybe you saw it on Facebook. Well, we're going to dive back into my past and take a look at that. I'm going to comment on it, talk about my time finishing up in Ecuador and how I've changed since then. So stick around. I'll be right back and have a little bit of a chit chat. When I started at Fulbright, this is the ETP right here. What used to be the ETP, because they're not at that location anymore. But a lot of you that are watching this, you know that this was a special place. The people that taught here, people that attended classes here, there was something special about it. In this concrete jungle of Quito, there was just this like little sanctuary where you could just like break away from everything for a little bit. For those of you who are students there, you could go there for 2 hours a day and just escape your stresses of the world, your boss, your crying babies at home, and just practice your English. At least I hope, for a couple of hours. And it was just an amazing place to be a part of. And for me, there were like two different versions of what I was when I was here. The first version, I guess, was in 2004 when I first got there. I was fresh out of Gloucester County College. This is where my associate's degree took me. And I was nervous. The first night, the night before I taught for the first time, I had butterflies in my stomach. I had moths in my stomach. I didn't know how I was going to do. I was so worried that my students would ask the most obscure question possible relating to English grammar, and I wouldn't be able to explain everything perfectly. But kudos to the academic coordinators at that time and the powers that be at the Fulbright commissions, the actual commission itself. I guess they saw something in me. They wanted to take a chance on me. I only had a 2-year degree, associate's degree. And on a whim, I moved to Ecuador to give it a shot, to be with my ex, and also like to see if I could teach English. At that time, I had a little bit of speaking. I had a little bit of public speaking experience from my stand-up comedy experience. And I also wrote on the school newspaper and participated on the school radio station where I was. And I guess like my ability to communicate was beneficial for me. But still, I didn't know if I could do it. But I guess I had this desire, this chip on my shoulders. See here in this New Jersey, Philadelphia area, we like to wear our heart on our sleeves, so they say. And I always wanted to make sure that I proved to them that I fit. A lot of the other teachers there, they had, higher levels of education. And a lot of them had experience. A lot of them had more worldwide experience, traveling, globetrotting, whatever. But I always wanted to make sure I fit in. I always wanted to make sure that nobody ever thought that I was the weak link in the chain. You know what I mean? So I guess I always felt like I had to work harder to make sure I belong. Hello, everybody. Well, here I am. I'm a little more than 12 hours away from heading out of Ecuador. And it's rough.
To all my colleagues at the ETP that I've worked with just now and over time, it has been wonderful. You guys are amazingly talented and devoted people, and it's been a divine pleasure having had the opportunity to work with you. And saying that I've been a part of the same team as you guys. You're going to keep on going, and you're going to be great. And I'm very proud of you.
That was me 6 years ago, and it was pretty hard. I was going through a hard time. That last year was pretty tough. I was hurt. I was struggling, and I was ashamed of myself. Um, I was in a really bad spot that last year. My health was deteriorating. It wasn't like I had to go to a hospital or anything like that. No, but as you can see in the video, there's a clear difference between what I looked like in that video and how I am now. Um, I was working 13, I was at the office like between 12 and 13 hours a day. Um, still coordinating stuff. Sometimes I had two classes. Sometimes I had to fill in for teachers that were not in or instructors that were not in. And and after I finished work, I would come home and I would just have no energy. I wouldn't have energy to prepare a meal, wouldn't have, let alone a healthy meal. I didn't have the energy to exercise. I just, maybe I ordered food. Maybe I plopped down on the bed, played video games, and hung out with my two awesome cats, Dante and Bundy. And that was it. That was it. And that was like a dangerous cycle for me the last couple of years there. Part of the issue was when I first got to Fulbright, I was able to be myself. I was able to hang out with the teachers, go out, meet new people, meet students, and just learn about Ecuador. I was able to travel a lot. I got to know Quito, so many amazing people. But once I got into the coordinating position, there were some difficulties, some harsh realities that I didn't really think were going to affect me. Like one of which was like, I learned that it was really hard to maintain my friendships with people. Um, and like I know that like people looked at me in a different way right from the start. Some people thought I was just going to be a puppet for the regime. They thought I wasn't going to be like, you know, I was going to be a pushover or whatever. And to be honest, I mean, they're probably right. I didn't know what to expect from myself either. I just knew that I had a love for the ATP and the students, and I just wanted to make sure I got the best out of the teachers that were there. And at least try my best to find the guys and the gals that I thought were going to put their heart into it. And that was hard. It was hard to find people like that because it was hard to encourage people to, well, especially like because at that time they wanted me to try to find people that were, um, you know, uh, foreigners, especially like Americans. So there was like a little bit of like the idea of the exchange, like Ecuadorians would get a chance to learn from American instructors that had different educational backgrounds, and it was a great idea, but from my perspective, as far as like trying to encourage people to give up their lives in the States, move to Ecuador and work for a fraction of what they were making up in the States, that was hard. Really hard to find people that were passionate, talented, people that I could trust in the classroom. And so there was a point where I had to draw the line between being friends and like hanging out with people the way I would have wanted to. And then I just had to like just pretty much be a coordinator. And I thought it was going to be an easy transition, but it was really hard. It's really hard. And it was always hard to separate work from pleasure. it was really hard to just leave everything at the office and then go home and not think about things, you know. And I didn't have that outlet. I didn't have a way to release things. I couldn't hang out the way I had used to do so, you know. I couldn't hang out the way I used to. And so that slowly but surely was tearing me apart.
It's all my former students and friends that I've made over the years here. I'm so sorry that I could not catch up with all of you. It was just so hard these past few weeks because I've been at the beck and call of Delta Airlines, Sierra Cargo, Mother Nature, and the Ecuadorian government with sending my cats, and also cleaning out my apartment and getting things ready to go. But nevertheless, just like the instructors, you guys have had an integral part of the person that I've become over the years and the person that I want to be in the future. And I thank you and I love you all.
I was losing a part of who I was, and I was weak. I was weak. I wasn't that strong. And then, but you see here in this video, I guess it was like the culmination of it. Um, the things that I said in that part there, like where I had a lot of things to do, that's true. That's true. But another part of me was like, I mean, I had a lot of invitations to go out and hang out with teachers, former students, a lot of friends, a lot of people that I met there, a lot of people that were special to me. Um, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed about what I had become. And it was hard for me to um, say goodbye the way I wanted to. I didn't want to go out. I mean, I wore the same clothes over and over again, just comfortable clothes. I wasn't stylish. I mean, it's not like I'm not like a New York model right now, but you know, I think I dress better now than I did back then. At least I'm more confident in myself right now. Back then, that version of me, he was lost. He was shattered on the inside. And as much as he loved Ecuador, he needed to step away. He needed to come back home. And yeah, that's what you're seeing here. So for any of you that wanted to hang out with me at the end, if I didn't get a chance to see you, it wasn't you. It was me. It was me. And you know, part of the inspiration, part of the motivation behind me, like thinking about Ecuador as like a little bit more of a motivation. Like I keep telling myself that when I hit like a certain goal with my weight loss, I do want to go back. And part of that is so that I could have a proper goodbye. I could see those of you that mean a lot to me, that have always meant a lot to me. I wanted to say goodbye back then, but I was too much of a chicken, too much of a coward, too much of a really bad version of myself to feel comfortable in going out with you guys. So yeah, that's pretty much where I was at that point.
And to my New Jersey people, I'm coming home. For all of you guys that I haven't had the time to see over the years during my vacation, I really look forward to catching up with you again, and my family, of course. Thank you for all this time over the years, for your support and patience and understanding of my being here. This has been an amazing experience, and maybe you've seen some of the messages people have been leaving me on my Facebook page, and you'll get an understanding of why it was important for me to be here for so long. But nevertheless, at the same time, with each year that I was here, it got harder and harder to be away from you guys. And I can't wait to see you again. And I can't wait to see my nephews and my already existing niece, Katie, and my new niece that's coming shortly after I arrive. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, this one is a little similar to what I just said a moment ago about saying goodbye to everybody. When I got back to New Jersey, it was hard for me to say hello to everybody again. And I keep thinking about like what they must have felt like seeing me struggle and not knowing what to say or how to say it. Looking back, I mean, like I said, I was just ashamed of myself, and I just didn't know how to start, didn't know where to start. And it took me a while to figure it out or get that extra boost to find how to start. Um, I knew I needed to leave Ecuador. It was time. There were so many stresses there. This place became a toxic work environment. It wasn't necessarily the instructors. It was a combination of things. I think like my frustration with the place was culminating from some of the things that were happening there that I didn't understand why they were happening. Didn't know how to cure any of the issues that were happening there. And some of the policies relating to visa that I had been staying there on, they were changing. It was just the writing was on the wall. And at the end of the day, I needed to leave and I needed to fix myself, but I also wanted to be here and just be near my family again. Um, it was so weird because for a long time, like when I was in Quito, I missed New Jersey. And when I was in New Jersey, I missed Quito. And it was this never ending battle of trying to find home, trying to find where I had to be. But sadly, like with the last few years that I had been in Ecuador, I missed out on um, what essentially became the final years of my grandparents' life, and I missed out on the growth, the the development of my oldest sister's kids. And I felt it was awkward, like I loved seeing them. They were great. I always appreciated everything they were doing. But every time I saw them, it was like a CD skip. One year they're like they're kids, and the next year, you hit skip, and then they're like starting high school. And you hit skip, they're in their sophomore year, and you hit skip, they're at the junior prom. You hit skip, they're drinking beer. It's crazy. Although, I mean, like after they finished high school and reached 21, because nobody would drink beer before then, right? So, um, that hurt, and it hurt uh, being away. And as much as I loved what I was doing, um, it, there was that side of me that missed everybody and my parents and, you know, and I didn't want to miss out on my brother's kids. And even now, like, overcoming my issues, like I feel like I'm a little more confident in being able to go out in public again and intermingle with everybody and go and visit people again without worrying about like, making a fool of myself or like, falling or breaking furniture or anything like that. I can go to my nephew's soccer game now and I hope to see my other nephew's basketball and baseball games and my niece's soccer games and like just do things I couldn't have done a few years ago. I had to leave Ecuador to do that. I had to leave Ecuador to make this change. And while I missed the last few years of my grandparents' lives, I was here. I was able to see them towards the end. And yeah, I think it would have been really hard to experience from Ecuador. I think back to 2020, like, I don't think I could have survived COVID away from everybody like that, you know? Uh, and this part of the video, um, it's all about family, and I know everybody rags on Americans for being cold with their families and not having the same types of relationships with their families that say Ecuadorians or Latin Americans do, or maybe people in other cultures. And we may not be like the full house type of family that always says I love you all the time, but the love is there. We care about each other. We just like we express it in different ways. Um, and and even though I may not hang out with everybody all the time, in a way, it's not that different than in Ecuador. But when I do see them, it feels good. And every time you see them, it's that emotional fill up. Like when you're traveling and you need to like when you're driving, you got to go to a gas station, you get filled with gas, you get your car filled up with gas, right? Well, sometimes it's the same way with your heart, your soul. You can go out and move around the world, but every now and then you got to pull over, see your family, and get that, full tank again, you know? And it's cool, like I may not be able to, hang out. Maybe I'm not cool enough to hang out with everybody all the time, but like, I mean, I look out the window, I see my nephews every now and then, my niece, I see my brother, and his lady, his gal, and it's cool. Uh, there's a sense of continuity, a sense of security that you get from that. Like it feels good to see them every day. And you know, it's something I couldn't have done when I was here, something I missed. And to that point, it's a good, that's one of the reasons I had to come back.
There's going to be so much that I miss about Ecuador from students, instructors, friends, the ETP, Education USA, Fulbright Ecuador, the weather. I mean, my God, it's like springtime all the time here in Quito. There's barely a cloud in the sky. For everybody that I know that has never been to Ecuador, you got to come there. It's amazing. The people are amazing. And I'm going to miss it greatly. So, Ecuador, it's been real. New Jersey, Philadelphia, I'm coming home. Elconic out, carpe diem.
I just wanted to finish it off here. I look at my old self at that point and I see like, it's hard for me to see it. I feel sad. I feel sad for that version of me. And I wish I could go back, and if I could apply anything similar to anything relating to what I know now about health and fitness, what I've learned from Dr. Fortino, the motivation, and I found so many things, and I'm continuing to learn every day. Resources, the information I'm learning, I feel great. I wish I had just a smidgen of what I have now. I wouldn't have been like that. I would have been different. And I wish many of you that knew me at the end, like especially the instructors and the students, yeah, you didn't see the best version of me, and I always felt bad about that. And I'm getting there. I'm closer to that version now than I was definitely in the last year or so when I was down there. Um, and no matter where I go, I will always have a great love for Ecuador and the ETP. And while I have changed, the ETP has changed, and even the commission itself has changed. I don't have any hate for it. I will always love it. And I hope those of you that are there now as students, I know it's hard to do it online compared to being there in person. I hope you guys continue to carry the torch that talented and passionate instructors and students that gave a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to that place and many dance moves. I hope you guys carry it. And I don't know if it'll ever return to an in-person place like this was. I hope it does. But until it does, I hope you guys are able to find a way to make it as special as it used to be. As special as Ecuador is and Quito. And yeah, I spent 14 years of my life there. And on September 28th, 2018, I said goodbye. But you know what, though? It wasn't forever. It wasn't forever. And I wanted to share this video with you so so you could, just like as a little bit of a reminder, that, sometimes, life is funny, like at that point, like I was lost. I didn't know where I was going to go, but now I'm still a little more lost. I'm still lost to a certain degree, but I still have I have more passion now. I have more of a positive approach towards what's going to come. And that guy there in 2018, I wish he could see what I've become now and what I'm going to continue to become. So that's just about all for today in Chuckadelphia. Thank you very much for watching. And I want you to think about where you were 6 years ago. And how different are you today than you were 6 years ago? How similar are you to what you were 6 years ago? I'd like to hear about that in the comment section. So you always get that question, that job interview question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 6 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? I had no idea I was going to become this. I feel good. I feel good. And I can't wait. Can't wait to continue on this upward climb. And I hope you guys continue to come with me. All right. So thank you very much, you guys. I will see you around. Carpe diem, my friends. Ciao, ciao.
Open your eyes. Why don't you see? There's a world out there waiting to see you. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Open your eyes. Abre tus ojos, porque no ves que hay un mundo ahí esperando por ti. Abre tus ojos, abre tus ojos, abre tus ojos.